Hello and welcome to Only in Illinois, your weekly recap from Reboot Illinois. I'm Madeline Dubeck here with Matt Dietrich, and we should be changing the name of this already to Election 2016 because the campaign rhetoric has been red hot
Yes,
this
it
week.
has. Yes, in Springfield, you would think that this is maybe a gubernatorial election year
You
because the week started off with a little bit of promise. We thought that the working groups working on the state budget behind the scenes might get something done, and then we ran into a pair of dueling press conferences this week.
We did. I actually talked to a couple of the people in the budget working group at the beginning of the week, and they thought things were going to get off to a rousing start. And then I think on the second day of those meetings, a couple people actually ran into the meeting having just been a couple doors down with the governor, where he was making a point of calling House Speaker Michael Madigan some names, and Illinois Senate President John Cullerton was corrupt this week.
Because he wants to hold school funding hostage, according to the governor.
And then Speaker Madigan and Senate President Cullerton turned around and accused the governor of holding the entire state hostage. It's just been kind of a crazy
Right,
week.
and if you can picture this, you have groups of lawmakers who are working behind the scenes. They're trying to work off of the governor's framework to get a temporary spending plan in place just to get the state through the end of the calendar year,
Right.
and possibly to get schools funded within a month so that they can open on time.
Right.
So they're holding these sessions, and their tweets start popping up on their iPhones from the governor's press conference about their leader, the Democrats, their leaders being corrupt and slow walking the process. Just not, I guess, not very helpful.
No, probably not too helpful. But then, late in the week, the governor said, you know what? We all need to chew gum and walk at the same time.
Yeah, and you know why they need to chew gum and walk at the same time? Because the ratings agencies weighed in this week, as we knew that they were going to do. We've known this for a long time, and we knew this when it looked like the budget talks were going to fall apart.
Right.
Illinois already has the worst credit rating of any state in the nation. We pay tens of millions of dollars more in interest than any other state does because our credit rating is the worst. Well, now it's worse than the worst because Moody's and what used to be known as Standard & Poor's, which is now called S&P Global Ratings, both on Thursday lowered Illinois' credit rating once again. And I spoke with Lawrence Masal from the Civic Federation, and he said that what this means is when Illinois goes to the bond market next week, which Illinois is planning to do, they're going to seek borrow $550 million for construction projects. What that's going to do is end up with us over the years paying tens of millions of dollars more in interest, money that should be going to schools, to public safety, to human services, to all the things that government is supposed to do, but instead it's going to go to fund our borrowing once again. And Lawrence Masal pointed out one other thing, and that is that if Moody's downgrades Illinois one more step, we're going to incur a $130 million penalty instantly, because back in 2003, the state agreed in its borrowing agreements that it would maintain a certain credit rating, and if it goes below where we're at now, we're going to be below it. It's going to cost $130 million that the state doesn't have. So this has real consequences.
And it seems as if some of these agencies and groups out there are starting to lose their own patience with the political gridlock in Illinois.
And one thing that came through loud and clear in both of these reports was they're very, very specific that what is causing the problem for Illinois is the political atmosphere, that this gridlock, that Illinois has the tools, it has the ability to right its financial ship.
These guys practically wrote the solution in their report. They said exactly what the personal income tax rate should be and what the corporate income tax rate should be. 4.75% and 6%,
Now again, you have to
along with
remember,
some cuts.
but all credit ratings care about is that you're going to pay back your debt. That's where your credit rating comes
Right.
from. They wouldn't care. They'd think it's great if Illinois raised
Right.
its personal income tax rate to 15%. Heck, you could pay back all kinds of debt that way.
True.
But they're not laying any blame on either side. They're very neutral in all this. What they're saying is, we don't care about your political gridlock. All it's doing is keeping you from addressing the real problems. Both sides here.
And costing your taxpayers a whole lot of money.
And this is what we've been saying over and over and over and over again.
Right.
There's plenty of room if these two sides will get together. But you have these two leaders, and it's Governor Rauner, Speaker Madigan for the most part, somewhat President Cullerton, but more so Madigan. And they have locked horns for over a year. We're the only state in the country that's done this. And now we're going to pay.
And so, meanwhile, we're getting downgraded and warnings from those two organizations. There also was a coalition of people who are concerned about transportation, who said that if we don't have a budget by July 1st, we're going to lose 25,000 jobs,
Right.
middle-class jobs in Illinois.
And all those highway projects that are underway right now, they will stop. They'll stop on July 1st.
Which could be great for your summer travel, but
Not so.
or you could end up in a ditch,
Right. Mm-hmm.
quite literally. And at the same time, school superintendents, a dozen or more of them, wrote a letter to the governor pretty seriously chiding him and asking him to please get something done so that schools can open, because administrators really have to know by the beginning of July in order to prepare and plan for an August opening.
That's exactly right. And that was the critical thing last year. Last year, the legislature had a separate bill that contained all the K-12 funding, so the governor signed that one. That all ends on July 1st.
Which is just a couple of weeks away, and this will have been a year that we've gone without a budget. Worst credit rating in the nation, worst pension debt in the nation. Probably we're right up there at having the most unpaid bills as a result of all of
Right.
this.
We'll hit 10 billion. That was in the credit rating reports.
So we've had enough of this nonsense. So we decided to try to do something new and different to bring an end to it and end the political rhetoric. We've created a hashtag that we hope you'll join us in using, a couple of hashtags actually. Hashtag do your job, hashtag IL budget now. Use it early and often, and thanks for watching. That's it for this week's edition of Only in Illinois.